I dated a guy that was the same age as my mom. What's up, what's up, what's up? What's up, guys? It's your girl Ariana, that cute little brown girl. Everybody want a little taste of. Today, guys, I am back with another story time. You guys have been eating up the story time. Eating it up. I love that for me, and I love that for you. So I'm like, okay, y'all are enjoying getting my business. I did hear y'all in the comments saying that y'all want them longer. So, I mean, I'm not going to add more onto the story if it's not long, but I am going to just like dig in my chamber. So I just want to give a disclaimer. As you are reading these, if I don't tell you to put no dates together, don't you put no dates together. If I don't tell you to find nobody, don't you go find nobody. If I don't tell you their names, don't you go looking for their names. Take the tea, drink it, and have a good time. Okay? Now that we got that all settled, let's get into it. Okay, so I dated a guy that was the same age as my mom. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I'm gonna show y'all how I ended up meeting him. We gonna give him a nickname of TJ. Okay, so we're gonna call him TJ. All right. All right, y'all, so let me set the scene for y'all. So I'm getting home super late. It's me and my sister, and we are headed back to my house. I believe she was staying the night to babysit. I don't know, but I know that we are going back to the house or whatever. So we go to the gas station that is near my apartment. It's this gas station I always go to. I'm familiar with the workers. Like, I like those type of personal connections and stuff like that. So I go to this gas station before I get home, and I end up stopping in this gas station. This specific day, I am dressed up. I am so cute. I look good, y'all. I look good. So I go to my gas station. At this gas station, you know, it's a hit or miss of who's in there based off of the neighborhood that I'm in. It's like people, it's not older retirement, so it's people you gonna see your age. Cool. So I know what I look like, but it's late, and typically at this time it's usually like construction workers and things like that, and nobody speaks English. It don't be nothing like that. So it's not like, oh, I went here with intention. So more of the story is just to give you context of how familiar I am with this gas station. I know the schedules, I know the people. I'm talking to them. I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I go in the gas station. When I go in, I get my regular snacks and stuff because I'm in for the night. Like, what's up? I'm home. What's up? I go and if I'm not mistaken, this was a work day because I remember being dressed up. I had my makeup on. I was ready to take everything off. And so when I go inside of the gas station, it's time for me to check out. And when I'm checking out, y'all, you know, when you look good, you feel good, you're walking with a different type of aura. You're walking with a different type of confidence. You're standing there. I'm standing there. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. So I'm standing there like, I feel these eyes on me, y'all. I feel the eyes on me, but I'm not paying nobody attention because I'm in my element. I see this particular guy, TJ, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, like, you're looking, but you're not approaching. What do I look like? So I finished getting my stuff. On top of the fact that we're not gonna talk about me paying for the stuff right here on the mat. Like, and I just had snacks. I ain't even had nothing crazy, TJ. And everybody else who was staring, crazy. Anyway, it's the thought that counts. So, girl, I go get in the car, and when I get in the car, I'm telling my sister, I said, girl, you would never believe. I said, it was a fine man that was up in there. And I said, there you go right there. And so I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because a player gotta keep it playing, okay? I did roll down my window. And I said, you have that area? He said, huh? I knew he couldn't hear me. I knew you couldn't hear me, but he was walking to his truck, and I knew he couldn't hear me. And so he comes, and I'm like, he like, hey, and I'm like, hey. So now we talking. I'm in the car. He, you know, leaned over. He talking to me. He like, I was like, you have beautiful eyes. He like, thank you. You do too. You're so pretty. Da da da. So then so this is what got me. So then he goes, you must like old men. And I said, huh? I said, what are you talking about? I said, why you say that? I said, wait, how old are you? He's talking about some 45. I think he said 40 something. To this day, I don't know what that man said. And that is, that's how much attention I was not paying, because I feel like that man said 40 something, but then I feel like later occasions he said 30 something. Let's just say he was as old as my mama, because I thought that for the longest. So I'm like, oh yeah, but he might have been 2 years younger than my mom. So it was 40 something. I don't care. It was 40 something. I don't care. So, and I said, oh wow, but he did not look 40. Y'all, this man was about 6 something. He was taller than me. He had a short cut. He had a beard. He had muscles. He was tatted up on his arm, he looked like a dang on wafer. Like I could eat him up. He just had this vibe about him. I said, oh, and I just really liked it. I thought he was a real handsome man. So he tells me his age, I tell him my age, and so I'm like, wait, you not married? You got kids? I'm asking all these at the window. He like, no, I'm not married, or I would not be, you know, talking to you. He's showing me his hand, so I said, okay. And I was like, are you single? He like, yeah, of course. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, me too. And so I was like, well, I gotta go. So, and he was like, you stay around here? And I said, yeah, around here in these parts. I'm not gonna tell you what apartment. He like, okay, yeah, same with me. I said, oh, really? He like, yeah, I stay right around here. I said, oh, okay. So we exchanged numbers, and I was like, you know, okay, you know, I'll talk to you later. I'll hit you up, like, you know, when I get back to the house or whatever. He said, okay. Y'all, he pulls off, I pull off. He pulls off, and when he pulls off, I see him turning into my apartment complex. And so I said, and our car, it's like a big old wind to get even to the gate to get to the apartments. So I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm telling my sister, I said, I hope he do not think that we are stalking him, because I live here too. So when we get through the gates, you know, because you got to go through the gate and I go through the gate. And then it didn't help either. It didn't help either that I followed him behind the gate, because that's how our gate worked. And so sometimes it would be broken. So it just was funny. So when we get to the stop sign, it's a stop sign that you can go right or you can go left. He goes left, my apartment is to the right. I was kind of interested to see where he stayed at and was gonna go left, because I'm like, maybe he's stalking me and driving in front of me and just listening and following my blinkers, and he gonna see how the neighborhood works. And so I'm just like, okay, so what I do is I park, but I just park in a different spot. And then, you know, me and my sister, we just moving fast. So where is Daniel? Is he here? Or is he asleep? I don't remember where he was at. He might have been with my mom. I don't know, because I was working that day. All I know is that I park, I'm at the house, I'm inside, and I'm sitting there, y'all. And so then, you know, we start texting and we start talking and things like that. And so now I start seeing him around the apartment. Like, I start seeing him more often now, because, you know, when you see somebody, you start seeing them. So now I'm seeing him when I'm going on my walks. Now I'm seeing him, you know, when I'm taking Daniel to the park. I'm just seeing his car, because I know, you know, where, you know, what his car look like, and that he lives here, and it's an apartment, you know what I'm saying? It's an apartment complex. You start getting familiar with things. So I'm like, wow, I'm like, you don't really notice until you notice. So we end up like texting for a few times, and then he texted me. He was like, are you afraid to come see me? And I said, afraid to come see you? I ain't never scared. Like, what's up? Also too, like, what's up? You feel me? So we end up linking up, y'all. So we end up linking up, we end up hanging out, we end up talking. And I'm like, what is up with this dude? Like, what is your situation? Why are you not married? Like, what is going on? He's just like, you know, he was talking to somebody at first. You know, she was older than me. Because I was like, well, how old is she? Because I started asking questions. Because why didn't it work? What's going on? How are you talking about her? What's happening? And he was telling me his story. I'm like, how many kids you got? And, you know, now we're going into more detail. And he's like, I got 4 kids. I said, 4 kids? He said, 4 kids. And I'm like, well, how old are your kids? One was 23 at the time. So, and I was sitting there, I was like, dang, I could date your son, your oldest son. And he was in college, and then he had 3 more kids. One might have lived in Alabama, I don't know. And the other 2, one for sure lived in the city though, because he would leave. That's how we seen each other. He would be leaving to go drop her off or pick her up. I don't know what his situation was entirely at that time, or how they rotated it. I can't remember. But he would go pick her up or leave, I don't know. But when it came down to his daughter, that was something he was doing every morning, because he had to work. And for me, that's when I would leave to go take Daniel to school. So we would just see each other in the mornings and things like that. And so we just started talking, and like we started hanging out more often. We started going on dates, and he just would say little comments and stuff that I would feel weird about. Like, he would just keep calling me a baby. Like, you're just a baby. A baby had a baby. And I'm like, my son is like 8 at, like, I don't know, how old is Daniel? I don't know how old Daniel is, but I'm like, what? And also too, another thing was that he was very like, you ever meet somebody who people say that they want that spark and that love that goes really fast? I don't I don't know. I don't know if I really believe in that. And my reason being that he was ready for us to move in with each other. He was asking, like, you know, he's like, you know, being my boyfriend and marrying me. He like, there's no point of being boyfriend and girlfriend if I know marriage is what I want. And he like, marriage is what you want. You got a good head on your shoulder. Da, 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 da. And the way that I am at this time, again, I got my own place, my own car. And I told him that I didn't do what I actually did, which was social media. I never tell people that I do social media because I'm gonna talk about you maybe, and I don't want you to find me if I cut off communication with you. So I don't give them my social. So I believe he thought I was a kindergarten teacher, or I worked with people in social media. I probably did something that was similar that gave me the free time to be freed around. But no, kindergarten teacher was somebody else. That's an entirely different person. I'm sorry. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Do not quote me on the kindergarten teacher one. Whole different person. Whole different person. He thought I worked in the social media stuff. So my whole thing too was he was this older dude who didn't know what he wanted to do for real with his life. He was working his job, doing a regular basic, you know, 2x2, 4x4, but he had dreams, aspirations, just didn't know how to execute it. And so when he started talking, I was listening, and what I really did appreciate is that he would listen back. So he was talking about how he wanted to make money, and he was getting ready to move. He was tired of this apartment. He was ready to go get a bigger place, things like that. And so I was like, oh, okay. This was the conversation of like him wanting to do like the family thing, all of that. Because I said, yeah, no, I'm good. I got my stuff where I got going on. I'm also in the process of getting ready to move. So I'm about to move as well to a whole nother state. This is like before I went to Philly. Thank you. Okay, this is like before I went to Philly. So at this time, y'all, I have a lot that is going on. And that is why I went to Philly. It was so much that was happening in my personal life. I was turning up and not going to work. There was no balance. Okay, baby, I was having a time. Don't get me wrong. I was having a time. I was having it my way. You couldn't tell me nothing. But spiritually depleted, living a double life. I'm in church, and then I'm over here having a time. Okay, don't even get me started on the stories about the beginning of my faith walk. It was real. On top of going through a public identity, it was so much going on, y'all, all at the same time. This is so crazy. So that's why I can't believe I'm telling y'all my business, because I'm just in this place of just owning my narrative. And I'm like, if I say it, nobody else can say it, and it doesn't have any more control over me. And I don't feel so like Miss Mocha Princess Goody Two Shoes can never do anything wrong. She is never toxic. She will never. And it's just like, I make mistakes. I do stuff too. Sometimes I'm the bad friend. Sometimes I push away good people. Like, stuff be happening. Like, it's life, and you know, like, it is what it is. So I ended up helping him set up an Airbnb. And at this time, my sister had just opened up her own Airbnb. Our family just had Airbnbs kind of going at this stage. So with Airbnbs, like the setup, finding the place, and just how to kind of like finesse in the beginning to make the money so that way you can scale it. Those are things that I'm good at. I'm good at making money. I can see it for other people. I just wasn't in a place of even caring or wanting it for myself at that time. And I was good. I had a good stable income coming in. Like, money was still flowing. I still get my like residuals that come in from YouTube. So I'm having a good little flow. Anything get bad, I can tuck over here and hit a little sponsor that I might pop up and show up and, you know, duck away. Or I got my savings over here. Things of that nature, as well as like my mama. Call if you need her. Hey. So after that, I helped him like set up his Airbnb. He ended up moving into a new spot, and at this time I was letting my spot go, and he was offering to, you know, pay my rent and like help me stay there. And I was like, no, it just doesn't make any sense right now. I want to keep it, but I just don't know what I want to do. My whole thing was that I just didn't want to go into partnership with somebody that I knew that if I let you give me a lump sum of money to go into this partnership and do these things because I helped you do yours, and he's not making money off of it because he listen. Like, and I like the fact that when people listen, they don't expect me to do the work for them. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. I cannot do the work for you. Don't you think I'm trying to do it for myself? I have my own child. I can't do it for you. I just like to point in the right direction, but I just don't like when you point people in the right direction and people forget that you would not be going that way if I didn't point you. That's where I get heated. That's where I get heated at. And I just get just frustrated. But he gave me my flowers, and he offered to pay me for, you know, helping him set it up, because he had bookings and things like that. He did end up having some problems with maintenance that ended up telling on him and saying, like, you know, he had people in the apartment, things like that. I am friends with the maintenance. I talk to people. I'm also just a girl. So things just are different for me. And also too, when you have the favor of God and you go into these places with confidence, it's just different. It's just different. He was very closed off, very standoffish. He would talk about certain stuff, but sometimes he would just end up being my mentor versus being like this boo thing. He was a very good escapee, like a place for me to escape, because I had so much going on. I didn't want to be at my house. I didn't want to be there. I was running from something. And so like it was good to like hang out and stuff. And so he would say little stuff like, you know, I'm not no dude, no lazy dude that's just sitting around the house not doing nothing all day. And I said, yeah, bet your phone still work. What I'm not asking for a lot. And so my whole thing was, don't be mad because you're not my boyfriend, you're not my boo. Don't be mad when I find something else to do. So then I'm not talking to him anymore. And so now we're talking on like a maybe once every 2 weeks, and he'll randomly text me. And he was doing these things where he would send me these dots. And I'm like, question mark? And he was trying to see if I had blocked him or not, because I'm somebody who will block you. And when you were acting a fool, I'm gonna block you, because what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And when I get mad, I've been really trying not to tame my tongue. And at that time, I had a whole different type of mouth mindset than I do right now. Okay, so again, he just was, it was like he would open up a little bit, but it just seemed very like narcissistic. It just seemed very like manipulative. It just seemed like he wanted to control me. And it was just like, the idea of what he had was one of those like traditional, like the wives, but like the ones that are like naked and pregnant cooking. And I said, oh buddy, baby, no, I'm in my prime. I can't. And then when you're talking to somebody older, you got to understand that you can be any age and people be, you know, leaving and going to their maker. But we're talking about like, it just seemed like stuff kept happening. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, dang, your friend died of a heart attack? What? Jeez. And so I just, and then we would be cool. And then sometimes it was weird because I felt like I was hanging out with my daddy. And then when my daddy would start like kissing me, I'm like, I can't. So then it just was the dynamic. And then I started thinking of the future. And I said, can I introduce this man to my mama? If my mom seen this grown man come up in this house, I know some of y'all gonna be like, it don't have nothing to do with your mama. But these are things that I think of. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like you that much. If I liked you that much, it wouldn't matter to me. I've had situations where in my family, the internet, y'all know, when I ride with somebody and I'm riding for them, we're riding till dusk and dawn. I'm gonna ride till dusk and dawn, if you right or if you wrong, okay? And that's not right all the time, but hear me out. So at this point in the situationship, because it was not no relationship, I don't know if he's talking to other people. I don't know what he got going on. All I know is that if there is somebody at the gas station asking for my number, somebody at Walmart, somebody at whatever or whatever I got going on, I'm talking, because I'm not your girl. And then I was happy too that he had moved out of the complex, because he was no longer in there, as well as like I had left. And so what had happened was sometimes like I would leave, go out of town, and like I would come back into the city. And I felt like I would call my best friend. I'm like, yo, he might have a tracker on me. Every single time I come back into the city, he would text me. I would like not talk to him and he would text me. Like I would drive up there, like I'll come get you, like just let me know, I'll leave right now, blah 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 blah. Just come back home, I miss you, I'm gonna do better, I'm gonna be more open, I'm gonna talk about my emotions, I want to marry you, and I just was talking to my mom about you. And I'm like, like we ain't even went on that many days, like, and that wasn't making me go wow, like that was scaring me, because something is wrong. And as well too, he had these things on his hand, and I was like, what's that for? Like, you don't ever take that off, I see it all the time. And he couldn't explain it. And I said, so now I'm like, so I'm trying to take little pictures and stuff of you. I'm not really telling anybody what's going on. I just would leave and just do me. I don't like people in my business, because if it's a L, if it's a loss, if it's a anything, like, adios is done with. So TJ was cool, he was nice, he was a good time for the time being. It wasn't there. And he would get these nasty attitudes, and when he did act out of character. It was something that really like I just wasn't attracted to. It just gave me like, this is gonna be problems later on. So I like to ask certain stuff and like put people in positions to kind of see the way that they're thinking, because it helps. It's like when you ask somebody like, oh, you like tomatoes, and they like, nah, squishy stuff. It's like stuff like that helps me know like, oh, well, you wouldn't like this because you don't like that. And then if I see you like that thing later on, I'm like, did you just lie because you didn't like my tomato soup? There's reasoning. People do things for a reason. So I'm very observant, very analytical. I like those type of things. Like, I feel like I can be a detective in another life and go, he's lying. Give me 24 hours. And with the baddest in the city, I'm talking about the baddest in the game, the ladies that know how to do it. Y'all are bomb. I love you, because y'all know how to find the great grandmother. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, y'all. Would I ever date a dude older than me like that again? I tried older, but not that old, and I just didn't like it. I think sometimes like we be moving too fast. The ones that I was talking to, they was just moving too fast. I do like you to be older than me. It just makes me feel better. But if you can be older than me and your mentality be younger than me, so mentally being older than me and mature, responsible, romantic is very important to me. Like, do not waste my time. I'm a girl. If you want to know how to love me, I just ask, just pay attention. I feel like I'm very simple. I feel like every girl says that, like, we're very simple creatures. I want to text, I want to talk, I want to date, I want to flirt, I want to put my legs up in the air, I want to spin around, I want to run through the flowers. Like, I'm just a girl, let me be a girl, the girl of your dreams. That's me. You know what I'm saying? But him, would I talk to TJ again? TJ can't forget about it. TJ thought he was somebody's daddy for real, and he would be talking to me crazy, and I would be like, okay, bro, you need to watch your mouth. And you talking all of this, but then in person you acting like a little puppy. And then it's like trophy wife, just somebody cute to be on your arm type of vibes. And then to come in the angle of like trying to take care of stuff, it just seemed like I was gonna be trapped in the house thinking I have a partner, and then you not home, you're always working, I'm here with the kids, and it's like, oh, you got a roof over your head. And another thing too, because he didn't want me to tell nobody, he was drinking too much. He was slipping it into his stuff, and I'm like, every time I would leave and try to link back up and we would watch BMF, every time I would be like, okay, and at this time I'm really like, I'm not drinking, like, because I'm telling y'all, I'm in between lives. I'm trying to live right, but then I'm having these other eventful moments at the same time. And so I'm like, no, I'm good. Like when he would make little drinks, but I'm paying attention, and I'm like, dang, like you doing this a lot. So it was just little stuff that I was just putting together. And one thing I can say that I really appreciate about him is that my car, my battery died. My battery had died. It was a Sunday morning. I had just got my hair pressed. I had to give either the words of encouragement or read scripture. I had to do something in the lineup of Sunday, and I'm listening to it on my phone because it's virtual, and I'm listening to it. I'm trying to pay attention, but my car will not cut on, and I don't know nobody else who can come help me with my car. My dad, like, there's nobody I can call that can come over here and, you know, help me with the car. People are at work. I've already went down my list of options, and so I'm like, you know what, it's this dude who said he liked me, who's messing with me, It digged in my head. I said, girl, call him. I called him. I don't know what he was doing, where he had to go, but I caught him right before he was about to leave. He came over and he started my stuff, and he was like, dang, am I finally gonna see where your apartment is at? And I was like, no, because again, I came out from I just had my ways, okay? Because I don't care how cool we kicking it. That's how you gotta know what type of time I was on. Like, nah, not where I lay my head, not where my son lay my head, because I know what type of female I am. Like, they can't get enough of me. They go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is. So I was like, no, especially because I'm like, how you're talking, how I am, I've been cutting this off. It's already been distancy. You feel me? If we're not talking dates or something like that, there's nothing to talk about. We're not chilling for what? You know? Are you gonna feed me? then we'll talk. If not, I don't have nothing to talk about. But he you know, did my car, lifted it all up, did all that fancy stuff, and I just stood there and I said, He got it started. He said, let it run for a little bit, and I said, okay. And he told me that my hair looked cute because I told you I just got it done. It did look cute. And I like how he had seen me before. He didn't know I was getting my hair done, because you just need to know when you see me, I ain't gonna look like how you know I look like. You just never know who you gonna get. But when he see me, he like, okay, your hair look cute, you look nice. And so I'm like, thank you. So I leave him, I run inside, and then I go do my assignment that I had to do for church. I was out of breath. I'm sitting there like, can y'all hear me? Because I needed my car to be on, because I knew after church I had somewhere to go. So then after that, I let the car run for a little bit, and then I was able to go back out. You know, I did what I needed to do, cut the car off, boom, 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 boom. That was it. I ended up having church that day. I think I finished church in the Starbucks because the internet over there was messing up. I didn't want to cut off the car, and I didn't want to just have it running in the parking lot. So I think I just took church and took church and went to the Starbucks up the street with the Wi-Fi set in there, and just like had a good service. And that was a good word that day. That was a good word. That was a good word. I felt like God was always talking to me and just like knocking on the door and saying, Airi, I'm right here, open up. And finally it got to a point where I needed to get out of the house I was in, and I ran to him. And that's like a little bit of how I ended up in Philly. So yeah, that's the story time of how I dated a guy that was the same age as my mom, how that went for me, my experience. That is the oldest that I have ever talked to. That is the that is the oldest that I have talked to and went on a date consistently with, enjoyed, and know enough about them to have a conversation or a story time. Real quick, I met another guy. He was older. He did not look as old as he did when I met him at the store. He didn't. He did not look as old, and he also did not have a limp. So when we linked up later on that day, because he was like, you know, I want to take you out like tonight, like let's go grab drinks. We met at the like hotel, like at the lobby, like the little, not the hotel, but like, y'all know how it looked like a hotel, but it's like they lobby thing. We met at this like open lobby, I don't know, but when we met there, you know, you had to go up these stairs, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, this man is limping. And I'm like, okay, beautiful. Oh, beautiful smile. He looked like he had like this slick hair. He had like in a little ponytail. He looked it like, I can't even explain it. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, he looked like he could start singing like Corazones. Like, I don't know. He was a nice guy though. He was an author, and he had gave me this book, and he was like, are you really gonna read it? Like, you gonna support me? I'm like, yes, like of course, if you gave me this, I am. And y'all, I left. I ain't never talked to that man again. Never ever. I don't know where that book is at, but from the book, like the pages I opened, it seemed like he had some good things to say. I just end up losing it and moving and things like that. But that's about it. Other than that, like, you got some 30s in there and stuff like that, you know, them is a different story. But in the 40s up, those is the only two, and that was it for me. That was it. After that point, y'all, I had cut out, and I was like, I went up north. I was done. I said, yeah, I can't do this no more. I'm like, it's ugly out here. Older, younger, medium, y'all. I have so many stories in that time frame. I have so many stories in that time frame, which is crazy. So I am leaving it right here. Let me know what story time y'all would like next, okay? Be specific. Let me know. Like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. Hit that thumbs up. Comment down below. What is the oldest age that you have dated? How was it? And would you do it again? And advice if you're locked in, married with somebody, it worked out perfectly. Give us some advice down in the comments so that way somebody can be better than me, learn the game. I want us to talk in the comments, y'all. Tell me some stories I heard. Let's talk. Let's chit chatty up, okay? And with that being said, Mocha Princess signing out. Peace.